everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. So we have so many stars in these committee videos from the Conservative Party. Some of my favorites, Larry Brock, Kelly Block, Michael Barrett, Stephanie Cousy, Melissa Lantsman, Joss Raj Halan. There's a long Garnet Genu, Michael Cooper. There's a long list of big-time Conservative stars. And there's a list of villains too, like MP Iqra Khalid can take over one of these meetings, snap just like that. And you never know what you're going to get from a crazy NDP MP like Laurel Collins in these committee videos. Anyways, the word is out. We've revealed in the thumbnail, in the title, what this committee video investigation is going to be about. Let's take a look. It's always wild in these committee videos, guys. Let's check it out. Let's go.
Mr. Cooper, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Ms. Doyle, just to clarify an answer you provided to a question posed by Mr. Perkins, the reassessment process that is now underway is taking into account all of the projects that were reviewed during the time period of the Auditor General's report, not just the sample of the Auditor General. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Can you provide the assurance that once the reassessment process is completed, that no companies that were involved in conflicts of interest involving board members will receive a further cent from the taxpayer through SDTC?
As I mentioned, we are implementing the Auditor General's recommendation, and we're reviewing every single project on an individual basis. And if we find any evidence of wrongdoing on the part of the recipient, as the legal agreements exist between SDTC and the recipients, then the board will take action on recovery.
And take action on recovery and bar such companies from receiving further funding?
Yes, I would imagine that if there was any finding of wrongdoing, that would disqualify them from future agreements with SDTC.
Now, you spoke about a reinforced contribution agreement that is now in place. Pursuant to that reinforced contribution agreement, are there any projects that would now be eligible for funding that were ineligible under the previous contribution agreements but had nonetheless been approved by the former corrupt SDTC board?
That might be the case. You know, the Act and the contribution agreement had not kept pace with changes in the technology space that we are focused on in clean tech. So there is a possibility with the new contribution agreement that, it was recommended by the Auditor General that we clarify language around eligibility. That I would say is a possibility.
I apologize to interrupt you, Ms. Doyle, and I thank you for that, but I raise it because when the whistleblower appeared before this committee 2 weeks ago, he said that it was more than a possibility. He said that with respect to the reinforced contribution agreement, that it, quote, goes back and retroactively allows for the majority of those ineligible projects to be considered eligible, a majority of ineligible projects. That seems to me to be concerning. It seems to me to be concerning that we have $58 million of money that improperly went out the door, according to the Auditor General, and instead of cleaning up the corruption and mismanagement at SDTC, what is now in fact happening pursuant to the so-called reinforced contribution agreement is that the minister and ISID and the board at SDTC are changing the rules retroactively to invalidate mismanagement and corruption?
Right now, the process is underway to assess the eligibility. So I'm not sure how anyone could speak as the outcome of that process. But I can just give you one example that in the new contribution agreement, we now have much more clear definitions around the technology readiness levels. They hadn't been as clearly defined in the former contribution agreement, and that had posed a challenge around the Auditor General's review of what readiness level was a particular project when it came to being to its eligibility. So, in some cases, the language is now much clearer with clearer definitions of what we mean by the TRLs, as they refer to, technology readiness levels.
Thank you. I'll move on to our next. Turning now to Mr. Brock, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, Ms. Doyle. Thank you for your attendance. Minister Champagne on June the 4th, 2024, issued a press release, and I'm going to quote from that release. He said, effective immediately, SDTC will also resume funding under a reinforced contribution agreement with ISED for eligible projects in a sector vital to our country's economy and clean growth transition. In line with the Auditor General's findings, my department will enhance oversight and monitoring of funding during the transition period. Now, did I hear you correctly in stating that since your appointment in and around June of this year, you have not funded any projects as of date?
We were appointed the very same day as that press release.
There's been no funding since that date?
No, there has been no disbursements made because there needed to be certain recommendations of the Auditor General
Thank you.
implemented. Yeah,
That's fine, ma'am. You confirmed on a number of occasions you have yet to speak to Minister Champagne, correct?
that's correct.
Have you spoke to the Deputy Minister?
Yes, we've had a discussion with the Deputy Minister, and we have other members of the ISED executive who attend each of our board meetings for a period of time for exchange of information and updates.
Okay. So you're sharing information. Are they providing an oversight and monitoring of projects that you are about to fund? Have they weighed in? Have they made an assessment about the appropriateness of that funding?
We have a regular reporting to ISED, and it's under the new contribution agreement. And financial reporting is going back and forth between ISED and SDTC. When it comes to the actual eligibility of the projects, that is our responsibility as the board. And so we've put this process in place, which I've referred to a number of times now.
Who are you talking to at ISED besides the Deputy Minister?
We are speaking with the Assistant Deputy Minister and members of his team, I believe. Yes.
Supply this committee with all those names?
Yes, we could.
You mentioned you're reporting to ISED. Do you know specifically who you are reporting to?
We report in, and I mean, we don't, as a board, report. We're appointed by the minister and serve at the pleasure of the government, but we report. Our reporting goes in to the deputy minister. Yeah.
Part of the difficulty in the previous rendition of the board of SDTC was information that we learned that the Assistant Deputy Minister of ISED actually sat in on each and every board meeting, had his eyes and ears on all the funding that was conflicted, all the funding that went to Liberal insiders, and whether or not that was passed on up the chain to Minister Champagne still to this day remains a mystery, hence the scandal. You obviously have had a number of board meetings, smaller in nature, since your appointment. Has the Assistant Deputy Minister sat in on those meetings?
The new contribution agreement specifies exactly the nature of the connection between the board and ISID. A member of an assistant deputy minister or his or her representative attends one portion of the board for the strict purpose of exchange of updates, and then leaves the board, so they are not present during any of our board business.
How on earth does that enhance oversight when that particular assistant deputy minister merely receives an update and is not privy to ensuring that all the actions and all the decisions you are making are in accordance with the updated contribution agreement? That was the whole purpose behind the old contribution agreement, that there would be some degree of oversight.
Thank you, Mr. Brock.
Am I hearing there's no oversight?
Mr. Doyle, you have the floor, please.
Yeah. The oversight is very well documented now in the new contribution agreement, and it is through a series of reporting. But as an independent agency, as specified under the Act, that the oversight is not done by having a member of the ISED as sitting in on the board, but rather through the regular reporting, both financial and program reporting, to the department.
Thank you very much.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what we really should think about what we just saw in that committee video. It's so hard to get answers. These conservatives are asking the right questions. We see it all the time. These liberals get in the way. The witnesses are never prepared. They don't have the right answers. I try to keep notes, but there's no sense. Let me know in the comments what I should think. My name's Aaron, this is Canadian Looney, and this is another Wild Committee investigation video. There are so many of them under this Trudeau, NDP, Jagmeet, Liberal coalition government. It's a total farce. We need an election. That's it. There's no more to say about that. We just need an election. Hopefully we'll get one. My name's Aaron. Like, subscribe, share, get notified, all those fun things. Please leave a comment. Love the comments. Check your next video. Thank you for watching this one. Remember to get notified for the live shows. That's worth a look. Our live shows and getting involved in the chat room. It's a good experience. Come check it out. That's it. Learn about Canadian federal politics with Canadians similar to yourself. That's it. My name's Aaron, Canadian Looney. Catch you next video. Thanks for watching this one.